Welcome to the Style Archetype, where we decode the psychology of fashion. And we use your favorite characters from film and television to break down the meaning of wardrobe and understand what it means and how what you wear tells the world who you are. Because let's face it, you're being perceived whether you want to or not. So you better tell the story you want the world to know.
Ibiza.
If you're new to my channel, my name is Ebony Brown and I am a union costume designer for film and television, and I'm also a celebrity fashion stylist. And I think this is officially my very first long-form YouTube video. So this is my official intro. What is my channel about? I love to show people how to create their own style story by developing their personal style. There's so many fads, there's so many trends. Every other week there's a new aesthetic, and we don't need to fall victim to that. As a matter of fact, I don't even lean into fashion trends and what's the color of the season and what's this and what's that, because there are so many people online telling you how to do that. But I am an expert who has worked in film and television and in Hollywood, and I understand what your wardrobe says about you. Because honestly, we're being judged. We are being judged. I hate to break it to you, but you are. So I'm going to teach you how to tell the story you want to tell. If you watch my wardrobe analysis on Lily Bloom from It Ends With Us, you'll know that I thought it was absolutely awful, as did most everybody online or everybody in the world except for Blake, clearly. But I also explain why it was bad. So today we're going to take a deep dive into Sex and the City, because so many people seem to think that Carrie Bradshaw was a fashion icon, which she was. I agree with that 100%. But did you also know that her wardrobe screamed, "Pick me"? I'm going to tell you how. It's also very interesting to note that Carrie had the least amount of money out of all four of the ladies, but had the most expensive wardrobe. Does that ring a bell? Who does that remind you of? Does that remind you of all the people who wear Gucci, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton? I mean, not just because you like fashion, but because you want to have the logos everywhere? Carrie did that in a more sophisticated way. So let's give a brief overview. Carrie is the beloved fashionista who spends more money than she makes. Charlotte York is the perfect polished princess who's obsessed with perfection. Miranda Hobbes. I like Miranda. Miranda Hobbes is the career-driven protagonist who doesn't want to stand out. And Samantha Jones, woohoo, Samantha Jones, baby. Samantha Jones is going to give cunt anytime she can, and we love that for her. But what you see on the surface is how the person presents to the world. But when you incorporate psychology, you're going to find out so much more. You're going to understand how wardrobe can tell the world your insecurities, the things you prioritize in life, and even your deepest fears. I know, it's really that deep. I'm not going to lie to you. But here's the good news. Once you understand the concept of costume design and the psychology of fashion, can I tell you something? Getting dressed for you is going to be so easy. You won't have anxiety, and you will be able to curate the most amazing style story. You won't care about trends. You won't care about aesthetics. You will tell the world who you are every time you step out of the house. So let's get into it with our ladies from Sex and the City. We have to start with Carrie Bradshaw. She is the fan favorite, mine as well. I love Carrie Bradshaw's style. But I also saw something else. Carrie spent everything she earned on her wardrobe. I don't have a problem with that. Is it responsible? No. Does she love fashion? Yes. But she was also hiding a very deep insecurity. So what do we know about Carrie? She's an artist. She's unpredictable. She loves her fashion to be over the top. Carrie's a romantic dreamer, when in fact, everything she wore was more of an armor. So people would focus on her fashion and not her finances. One of the most embarrassing things in the world is when someone shows up in head-to-toe designer with zero money in their bank account. When someone is carrying a Birkin bag that they've spent $15,000 on and don't even have $1,500 in their checking account. That's embarrassing, and that's Carrie Bradshaw. But on the flip side, we've all heard of the term fake it till you make it, right? Carrie wanted to be in elevated spaces, and to be honest, she did not get into those spaces on her own. Carrie was able to get into elevated spaces because she was friends with Samantha Jones, and Samantha Jones owned one of the top PR firms in New York City. Samantha Jones had the access. Carrie was a tag-along. Carrie had her own access as well because she was a freelance writer for Vogue, but it wasn't Samantha's access. Let's be clear. So I feel like Carrie thought she could elevate her social circles through her wardrobe. And that is true. You can absolutely move up the ranks in life, or as they like to call it, social climb, through your wardrobe. If you have on expensive items, you're going to attract people who also love expensive items. And that's what Carrie was doing. But underneath it all, Carrie was deeply insecure about love. Big never wanted her. She literally was a pick-me for Big.
I don't care. But you'd be moving to Paris for yourself, right? I mean, don't move for me.
Well, why would I move to Paris if it wasn't for you?
No, I'm just saying, I don't want you to uproot your life and expect anything.
I am such an idiot!
What the fuck?
Mr. Big spun circles around her. It's so funny because watching that in my younger days, I thought that the Carrie and Big romance was the one of all time, the one that everyone wanted. But maturity is realizing that that was the most toxic, gaslighting, spinning through circles, narcissistic romance, if you even want to call it a romance, that ever was. And no one should strive for a Carrie and Big love story. Carrie Bradshaw wanted to be successful. I don't think Carrie wanted to be rich. I don't think that was her vibe. But I do feel that she wanted to be financially stable, but she couldn't get ahead of herself because she kept spending all of her money on Manolo Blahniks, Jimmy Choo's, X, Y, and Z. Carrie Bradshaw didn't just wear fashion, she hid behind fashion. So if you find that you relate to Carrie Bradshaw in the way you present yourself to the world, I want you to ask yourself, am I dressing for me or am I dressing to prove a point? Now, Charlotte York, the perfectionist queen. Charlotte, to me, gives, when I'm first dating somebody, I'm going to get up in the morning super early, run and put my makeup on, and then lay back in the bed to pretend like I wake up this way. That's what Charlotte gives. She never wants to look out of place. She wanted everyone to think she was perfect at all times, no matter what was going on in her world. Charlotte was so chic, she would be considered quiet luxury if it were all white. And that got her into the upper echelon of society circles in New York. And not to mention, she ran an art gallery. That's high society in New York. An art gallery, high society. But one thing to keep in mind, whenever I see someone who's always put together, who's always prim and proper, who's always polished, that's a dead giveaway for someone who needs to be in control at all times. You know that one friend who you can never go on a vacation with because they need to control every single aspect of the trip? That's Charlotte. Can never go with the flow. But here's the real tea. Charlotte feared being ordinary. She always wanted to attract the right kind of man, super rich, the right type of clients, the right social circles. And she knows she needed to appear flawless to do that. So if you resonate with Charlotte, I want you to ask yourself, is my wardrobe a reflection of who I am or who I think I should be? Miranda Hobbes, career-driven, didn't seem to care about fashion, but always perfectly tailored. Miranda needed to be taken seriously. She was in a law firm with all men, and she was never going to show up in a pastel dress. Miranda avoided femininity to gain respect, which is why she wore tons of pantsuits and neutral colors, bold colors, black, navy, reds, but deep reds. She needed to blend in with the boys club. And I'm going to be honest, she did it the right way. Had Miranda gone to work dressed like a Carrie or even a Charlotte, no one would have taken her seriously. Sad but true. So she needed to bust a few balls to gain respect. Miranda also didn't want to seem vulnerable, which is why she never dressed too girly. The more structured she was, the more she felt she had control over how she was perceived. But that's sort of not true. It's a little true, but it's not really true. Here's the real tea. No matter what you wear, you can't completely 100% control how people perceive you, but you can set the stage. And Miranda was setting the stage of being perceived as a boss, no nonsense, not girly, super serious, super intelligent. She couldn't come across as a fashion girly. The psychology behind the way Miranda dressed is that fashion is frivolous. I don't have time for that. I need to run law firm. You know what I mean? You know those people who feel like fashion is silly and they don't equate fashion with intelligence. That's Miranda. But in all actuality, Miranda was a bit soft. She was a bit vulnerable. She just didn't give herself permission to express that through her wardrobe because she assumed if she did, she'd be taken advantage of. And in the environment of the law firm where she worked, I have to say she's correct. So if you resonate with a Miranda, I want you to ask yourself, does your wardrobe express who you truly are? Or are you just dressing to survive in an environment where you don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to be sensitive, and to just be you? Samantha Jones, baby. Cunt, cunt, cunt. But is she hiding an insecurity? Samantha's a boss. Samantha's a powerhouse. But Samantha didn't conform to societal norms of telling her she needs to be in a pantsuit to run a firm. She needed to be taken seriously, so she needed to wear a suit and tie or a blazer or anything that wasn't too girly or wasn't too sexy. She also didn't care about the fact that the way she dressed will make people think she was easy, because she was. But here's the gag. No one was taking advantage of Samantha. She was easy because she wanted to be easy. She didn't have time for all the relationship crap. She needed to get it done and move along. And that's what she gave you through her wardrobe. Always going to show a little titty, always going to have a tight dress, always going to be a little cunty. Actually, she was always a lot cunty, to be honest. But what do we think Samantha's wardrobe really says about her insecurities? Or if there are any? I think Samantha wanted the world to know she was in control of her sexuality. She didn't need a man. She would entertain one if she wanted to. But that was it. But that all came tumbling down when she was obsessed over her boss. What was his name? Hold on. Let me find out the boss's name real quick. This is important. We need to know. What was Samantha Jones's boss's name that she was dating? No, not Jared. No, the boss. Okay, what was his name? Yeah. Richard had her spun. Richard had her shook, honey. That tough girl act came crumbling down when she got with Richard. And what that tells me is that she's just like every other girl who really wants to be soft and pink, but knows that men are trash. So she's not even about to waste her time. Samantha's in the PR world. She sees every man from the celebrity to the CEO. And she knows they're all the same. Why would she ever waste her time conforming to societal norms, doing what the world tells women they should do? Samantha was a boss. She was never going to do that. But I secretly feel like she would have loved for a man like Richard to sweep her off her feet and be true and honest. Smith Jarrett, he just wasn't for her because the power dynamic between Samantha and Smith Jarrett, it was never going to work. Samantha is a boss, therefore she needs a boss. Although I love Smith Jarrett, I loved him for her. I thought he gave her what she needed in the moment. But just by looking at Samantha's wardrobe, she needed someone who she respected, and she didn't really respect Smith Jarrett. So if you are a Samantha Jones with your wardrobe, kudos to you. You don't give a what the world thinks about you, and I love that for you. But there is a part of you that's hiding the fact that you kind of want to be soft and pink and would kind of love for a man to come and sweep you off your feet just a little bit. And that's okay. That's okay. We've all been there. So now that we've broken down the wardrobe archetype, type in the comments which one you are and why. And if you feel that it's hiding a particular insecurity that now you've uncovered through this video, drop that in the comments as well. And if you love my channel and if you love this type of content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and come back every Thursday for a new wardrobe analysis.